Hey everybody, and welcome to Beyond, my top 100 board games of all time. So I've had quite a few requests from you guys asking for this video because you want to know what's in my next block of top games. Now, I actually only rank games that I have with a commendation, and at this time there are 189 games with a commendation. Therefore, I'll only be talking about 89 games this video rather than the actual next 100 games. It's not going to go all the way up to 200. So before I get started on these games, I want to give a shout out to KIENDA.co.uk, who are my go-to online retailer. And if you use the link in my show notes or the QR code, then you can get 5% off your first order. And I'm also not going to be putting much effort into this video in terms of the editing, etc. So there's not going to be any graphics or any pictures, etc., because that takes a lot of time, and I want to get this video out as soon as I can, really, to get it while my top 100 is still relatively hot off the press. So let's get started. Again, I'm going to talk about these very briefly because I don't want this video to go on forever, but it's just so you guys get an idea about what just missed the list. So at number 101, I have Battle Line. So Battle Line, one of the longest games I've had in my collection, a little two-player kind of poker variant, and was actually at number 106 the year before. So again, just missing out on that list very narrowly 2 years in a row. 102, I have Manhattan, absolute classic area control game, very simple, and that's a new entry. 103, I have Finca, another family-friendly resource management style game based on this rondel. Lovely game, very bright and colourful, and that's another new entry. 104, I have Tifa Tashin, also known as Good Critters, one of my favourite negotiation style games about trying to get as much money as you can and strike deals with the other players. That was number 118 the year before. And slipping off my top 100 from last year is QE, coming in at number 105, and that was number 93 last year. A fantastic auction style game or blind bidding style game where you can bid whatever you want, and whoever's bid the most at the end of the game is automatically eliminated. 106, I have Spicy, fantastic bluffing game, a new entry. At number 107, I have another new entry with Ingenious, kind of another family weight tile placement game as you're trying to string these symbols together. Uses the Tigris and Euphrates scoring system where only your lowest category is your final score. Another number 108, I have another Knizia game with Lost Cities, which is actually up from number 135 from 2022. Quite a few new entries following this then. So at 109, I have Floriferous, a game I play quite a lot, lovely little set collection style game. 110, a brand new entry with Wild Tiled West. Literally just got this one into the collection. Brilliant polyomino style game with a Wild West theme. Lots going on here. At number 111, I have First Rat. So First Rat, I don't think was ranked last year, despite me having played it, because I think I had it at about a 6.5, and I think it's just climbed up to a 7, which is where I put my accommodation. So it's kind of a re-entry, or it's the first time it's been ranked, but it's not actually the first time I've played it before I've done a ranking video, if that makes sense. At number 112, I have Photograph, also known as Wind the Film. Very tense set collection game, hand management game that I do need to be in the right mood to play because it is quite a restrictive and taxing game, but brilliant design. At number 113, I have The Bank, which is actually up one spot from 114 from 2022. And this is another kind of bluffing style game as you're trying to get tons of money by betting on these different tables. Brilliant party-esque style game. At number 114, I have last year's 125 with Get On Board. It's kind of another flip and right variant as you're moving around this board, visiting these different passengers and trying to drop them off at their desired destinations. A Japanese design. At number 115, I have a hidden gem with Hiroba. So Hiroba is a new entry. It's a twist on the Sudoku mechanism, but with an area control game built in. It's very interesting design, very fresh, and it feels like an old school design, which I really like. At number 116, I have Rococo Deluxe. So this was actually number 52 last year, so quite a significant drop for Rococo. Love the game, very good game by Matthias Kramer, but my desire to play it has dropped quite a lot. It is an area control style game. I have quite a few that I prefer over Rococo, so just by pure default, it has slipped down because I'm just not getting it played. 117, I have Revive. A lot of people were asking where Revive was on my list, so narrowly missed out on my top 100. I love the combos in this game and the kind of engine building and climbing up tracks and things, but this one didn't quite hit the peaks on my list because I find it a bit too on the rails, where you know what you want to do, you're going to stick to the game plan without much getting in the way or interfering with you. So I think this game could have actually ramped up the tactical element rather than just the strategic element. Still, brilliant game. It's 117 of all time. At number 118, I have Amsterdam. So a Stefan Feld game that did narrowly miss out on the top 100. Some things I love about this game. I love the resource management, as you are drafting dice which give you resources. The higher the pips means more resources, but you won't get them until further down the line. So a very strategic game where you have to plan ahead. I'm not sure if this really gels with my game, or my brain, I suppose, because I'm very bad at it, and I might find it quite difficult to plan ahead that far, and I generally just do poorly. But very good, very interesting, but maybe a little bit too restrictive to be my absolute favourites. At 119, I have La Granja. So I did play it for the first time this year, the new shiny version. Love the game. I mean, I love the card play in this game, but it does suffer. In fact, a lot of the games from this area suffer with having fierce competition in that kind of genre of game. So if you want a nice midweight Euro resource management game, despite me thinking La Granja is great, there might be a few that I lean towards before pulling La Granja off the shelf. At number 120, I have Docmus. So Docmus is actually up 20 places from last year. This actually feels like a Reiner Knizia game, but it's not. It's a route building style game, but the board is modular, and you can actually manipulate the board state to build off your chain and start spanning off in different areas and scoring points. Really clean design. 121, I have Lancaster, very narrowly down from 112 last year. Haven't played it a lot. A great worker placement game, and where you're actually jostling for position to try and get the spots that you want. Really cool game. 122, I have Furnace, down a small amount from 111 last year. Clean engine building game. Love the bidding system here, as you're placing your bidding tokens on these cards. Highest bidding token is going to win the card, but the lower bidding tokens is going to get the resources on those cards. So I love that multi-purpose card use and that dual layered bidding system. 123, I have No Thanks, down from 99 last year. I've not had much chance to play No Thanks this year, so I actually do need to get this one back to the table. This is always going to be in this area because it's just it's an evergreen filler game, as you're bidding not to take cards and trying to score the lowest amount of points. But yeah, an absolute classic. 124, I have The Resistance Avalon. I think this is the first time it's ever not been in my top 100 of all time, falling from number 75 last year. Recent years, I've not had much chance to play higher player count games at all. I'm generally playing at the 2 or 3 player count. So naturally, social deduction games are going to fall because I'm just simply not getting them played. But this is my favourite one by far. And actually, it was my favourite game of all time when I first got into the hobby. At 125, I have Startups. In the same area as last year. It was 124 last year. One of my favourite Oink games. It might actually be my highest ranked Oink game. A very simple economic style game, as you're fighting for these shares, but you don't want to be the unanimous shareholder because you're not going to score anything. So you do need that competition in order to flourish in this game. At 126, I have Mask Men, another Oink game. Very interesting shedding game. Hard to explain. Maybe check out some content on this one because it's a niche style game that isn't going to be for everybody, but it works for me. At number 127, I have last year's 109 with 6 Nimpt. Take 6. Probably know about this game. Cool simultaneous card play. At 128, quite a hefty jump for Cabo. This was actually number 162 last year. Cabo, charming little memory style game, has this kind of chicken mechanism. Do I want to end the round now, thinking that I've got the lowest player card count in front of me, and trying not to score points again. Really been a hit with my gaming group. 1 to 9, I have a new entry with Namalia, a spin on the Isle of Skye cartographer's scoring mechanism with some card overlap. 1:30, I have Rome in a Day. This was a new release this year, gone down very well for my gaming group. I split you choose with a bit of tile placement. 131, I have Arboretum, down from 120. This fits that bracket of games that I need to be in the right mood to play, very similarly to a game like Photograph. Very restrictive, very punishing, but still a really juicy and interesting design. 132, I have Sealand, down from 91. Might have played this one too many times. It's probably going to be in free fall now, but definitely an overlooked and forgotten gem from Wolfgang Kramer. 133, down from number 66 last year, I have Millefiori. Millefiori, I think, is a very satisfying game, but one that I did kind of lose my passion for, because I tried all the different routes, tried the different things, and my desire to go back to it is not terribly high at the moment. But this might change, much like it did with a game like First Rat. At 134, I have Wizards of the Grimoire, a game I shouldn't like, a little dueling style game, but very Euro in the way it works, a pure efficiency puzzle, trying to exploit this little engine of cards and trying to basically overcome your opponent's arrangement of cards and exploit their weaknesses. Extremely clever game with some cool card synergies. 135, up from 151, is Cryptid. Unique deduction style game as you're trying to find a distinct location on this map by asking questions to your opponents. And number 136, I have Caesar sees Rome in 20 minutes, down from number 90, I think, last year. Quite a big drop, purely because I ended up getting Samurai into my collection, and Samurai is very similar to this game, but I prefer that one a little bit more because it scales better. Caesar is only a 2-player game. 137, I have Nidavellir, down from 128. Another bidding style game, set collection, really nice design actually. I haven't played it in quite some time, so we'll need to get this one played. 138, I have My Farm Shop, down from 122. This is my favourite variant on the Machikoro dice rolling system and triggering cards. 139, I have Letter Jam, down from 123. This is a deduction cooperative word game. Works way better than it should do. At number 140, I have The Magnificent. This one might be the biggest drop actually, because it's down from number 42 last year. So nearly a 100 place drop for The Magnificent, simply because the competition for this style of game in my collection is so high that when it falls down that pecking order, it's going to be in free fall. At number 141, down from 62 last year, is Zangwo. Very heavy Euro area control style game with a great card placement mechanism. Much like this one and the following game, which is Nippon at 142. These games are a little bit above my comfort zone in terms of their complexity. Brilliant designs, I mean outstanding game designs, but they are taking 2.5 hours, and the rules teach is quite heavy. And generally, I work hard, I come home, I'm not normally in the mood to play a game of that much input that's required. At number 143, another game from Watch Your Game actually, so that's 3 in a row. This is Signorie, down from 56 last year. Another one in a very bloated dice drafting genre, which I did have a lot of these games in my collection. I have culled them down to my favourites now, and because of the lack of incentive to play it, it has fallen, but still it's a great dice drafting style game. But I do have others I prefer, which are in my top 100. 144, I have Tigris and Euphrates, down from 46 last year, so nearly 100 points falls for Tigris and Euphrates. I really enjoy this game, but my gaming group generally don't. It's quite a hard game to gel with. It's either going to hit or it's going to miss. and I think more often than not this game is missed for my gaming group. So therefore I'm not going to get it back to the table because I want everybody to have a good time. At number 145 I have Marco Polo. Both games really, I categorise them the same. Another game that's been in quite a high fall, going from number 69 last year because of that dice drafter bloat. Number 146 I have Shipyard, down 101 places. So this one I did really like. It's a rondel within rondel style game by Vladimir Suki. I kind of feel like I've played this game as well as I can. I don't really feel like there's much more for me to explore. I've tried the different technologies, I've tried the different strategies, and yeah, it's kind of one of those games that I've really enjoyed. I'd recommend everybody play it, especially if you are a Eurogamer, but it's not going to be on my top games anymore because, you know, despite loving it, I didn't really want to play it much more. 147, huge drop for Teotihuacan, down from 38 last year. I think since Teletum came out, games like Teotihuacan and some others that are going to come up have fallen because I prefer Teletum that much more. And again, top 100 games feature so many dice drafters like Pulsar, Teletum, and different games like that, that a lot of the other ones have fallen down. Next up at number 148, I have Savannah Park, down from 101 last year. This is like a little slidey puzzle style game, trying to put animals in the right location and score as many points by chaining them together as you can. 149, I have a Bluxon, also known as Linko, another card shedding style game. Number 150, I have Nauticus, down from 137. Highly underrated Wolfgang Kramer, and I believe it's Michael Kiesling co-design. Quite similar to Shipyard actually, same theme, building ships, sending them off and scoring points. 151, I have Fiam, down from number 73. Very interesting game. I do like the way this game works. It has that Concordia hand management system. The game is a little bit too weird for its own good at times. Also think it's a little bit too long, and it can be swingy. This is still. Now I'm talking about these games like they're negative. Now this is my 151st best game of all time, but I just want to explain why it's fallen, I suppose. But this is a game where you're trying to score points in tons of different ways by playing these cards, building up this map. But the card play in this game is absolutely fantastic. At number 152, I have Jerusalem, which is a new entry. Love the theme on this one. It's all about the Last Supper, trying to sit next to Jesus at the Last Supper table, climbing tracks and things. Really nice Euro game from a first-time designer, I think. So, congratulations for getting onto my top 150, or just below my top 150 games of all time. 153, I have Patchwork, up from 175 last year. Downright classic tile placement polyomino style game by Uwe Rosenberg. 154, I have Alice's Garden, up from 170, another polyomino style game. 155, I have Witchstone, which was just on the top 100 last year at 97. Lots of combos in this Knizia design. Has that kind of ingenious draft tile placement system, trying to string these symbols together to get stronger actions. 156, down from 138 last year, is Sleuth, brain burner deduction style game from many years ago. 157, I have a new entry with The Number. Is it a game? Is it not a game? I think so. This is like a blind bidding game where you're trying to write these numbers down, trying to have the highest unique number in order to score points. At number 158, up from 166 last year, is Ship Shape. Cool game where you're laying these tiles on top of each other, trying to have certain symbols on display from a bird's eye view. At number 159, I have Garum, down from 107. This one I think has plateaued for me. I played it quite a few times now, seeing what it has to offer. But is it going to fall below a 7? I don't know, maybe with more time as it kind of passes by. 160, another of Vladimir Suki games, a debut entrant for Woodcraft. This one, I like it a lot. My gaming group weren't too keen. So similarly to a game like Tigris and Euphrates, I think that might be a reason why it's been hurt quite a bit, because again, I enjoy it if other people enjoy it. At number 161, I have Santa Maria, down from 130, another dice drafting game, as you're building up your player board, triggering bonuses by playing dice. At number 162, I have Crossed Words, a lovely party game, down from 119 last year, but this is a game that's always going to go up and down because depending on how recently I've played it, I suppose. 163, a new entry with Skull. I think this might be another example like First Rats, where I did play this before, but it's the first time it's ranked because I pushed it up from a 6.5 to a 7. Therefore, it's made its way onto my top, my commendations. At number 164, I have First Contact. Now, this is a game I haven't talked about much on the channel yet, because I do need to play it some more. But this is a very unique game, as you are trying to build up this language between you and the other players, and basically deduce what these different symbols mean. Very interesting. At number 165, down from number 83 last year, is Orléans, a bag building style game with a kind of a degree of worker placement. Mechanically, this game is so cool. I love the different strategies you can go down, building the bag. It's a bit like a deck builder, but with chits. Now, the reason this one has fallen is mainly due to fatigue. I've played it so many times now, I generally do the same thing each time. So this is kind of one of those games that's almost like a Hall of Fame game for me. Despite me having such a good time over the years for it, it's just time for me to move on and not replay it much more. But still, it's never going to fall below a 7 because it's that good. At number 166, I have Acquire, classic economic style game, buying and selling shares. 167, a debut entrant with Mosaic. This is streamlined civilization style game. I mean, I don't have many civilization style games on my top games actually. So well done for that. This is a game where you're doing a bit of area control. You're drafting cards, getting better technologies, getting these symbols to score points. A lot easier to play than it looks actually. At number 168, a huge drop for Messina. 1347, down from number 41 last year. I'm not quite sure why this one fell off. I think I might have had a bad experience, and therefore that led me to part with the game. But I do like it. It's never going to go below a 7 again. At number 169, I have Modern Art, down from 108 last year. Classic Knizia bidding style game, collecting this artwork that's going to change in value as you go. I think the game maybe is a touch too chaotic to be my favourite, amongst my favourite bidding games, but it's a classic for a reason. At number 170, another big drop from number 68 last year with Viceroy. Very similarly to Orléans, I've just played this game so many times now that I can just move on from it happily with no issues whatsoever. At number 171, I have Decrypto, down from 131. A great team versus team party word game, maybe party plus. You need to be somewhat of a gamer to understand how this works. But I very rarely get this to the table. I struggle immensely to get it played. Naturally, it's going to fall for that reason. And number 172, I have The Estate, which was actually number 55 last year. Polarizing game. You're going to love it or you're going to hate it because it is so nasty. I fall in the former camp of loving it. A lot of my game group don't love it because it is that abrupt and that downright mean, to be honest. Number 173, Boon Lake, down from 49 last year. So I must admit these Alexander Pfister style games have diminished for me somewhat. You might have noticed Maracaibo fell slightly. That's still my favourite by far. Boon Lake fell because I had quite a negative experience with it for probably the wrong reasons. Not because I did badly at it, because I did so well at it by playing these cards. I felt like I almost broke the game and I was just showered in resources. And I tend not to like loose games, at least not overly loose games where you're showered in resources. And I had that experience, therefore it has fallen quite significantly. At number 174, I have Ginkgopolis, down from 121. Kind of an abstract tile placement game with a bit of drafting, trying to score majorities. Number 175, I have Ka-Ching, which is down a few places from 171 last year. This is a game where you're drafting from columns, coloured cards that are going to multiply with each other to score you money, which is your points. Hugely overlooked and forgotten gem. Number 176, I have Push, down from 142 last year. I think a main reason for that is because I got Rapido into my collection, which is kind of my forefront push your luck style game, where Push did have that place, so it's kind of been replaced for that reason. But I'll keep hold of this one because it is a very fun game with really tense moments. At number 177, I have Shakespeare, down from 127. So again, this is always going to be towards the bottom of my commendations because I can never make it go below a 7 out of 10, but I kind of played it so much that I don't need to play it anymore. A great game as you're trying to climb these tracks, kind of acquire these actors and put them in costumes. But the thing I really love about this game is the initiative mechanism, where you can bid to have fewer actions in order to go first. I don't really see that very often, and it works to a T here, and also has one of the best expansions I've ever seen. At number 178, I have When I Dream, down from 167. One of my favourite party games, but it has fallen because you do require higher player counts to get the most from this game, and I don't really have that much very often. The same goes for number 179, which is Just One, which funny enough was number 179 last year. A game that you can play with absolutely anybody, as you are cooperatively trying to work out a word by writing clues, but you cannot write duplicate clues because they will cancel each other out. 180 is So Clover, down from 168 last year. So this is actually very similar to Just One, but you are writing clues corresponding to these clue cards, which are jumbled up, and you've got to put them back in order. So quite interesting how this one and Just One have switched places. And it's probably always going to be a back and forth depending on which way the wind blows for me. At number 181, I have St. Marlow, one of the original roll and write style games, trying to put buildings together through this dry erase board system, get bonuses and things. Works really well and holds up well for an older one. Number 182, I have Mombasa, second Alexander Pfister game on this list, down from 113 last year. Was reprinted as a sci-fi theme. I forgot what it's called, Moon something, but it works well. I love the kind of stock investment system as you're investing in these different companies. Yeah, I mean, it's a good Alexander Pfister game, but Maracaibo generally is my kitchen sink game, and it kind of encompasses all the other Pfister games for me. At number 183, I have the Palaces of Carrara, down from 150 last year. Great drafting system as you're taking these resources from this wheel that will make the values of these bricks change. You're building buildings and trying to trigger them at the right time based on this kind of chicken mechanism, where if you score something, then your opponents are going to be locked out of scoring that exact kind of configuration of scoring criteria. At number 184, I have Rustling Leaves, down from 141 last year. Another roll and write style game as you're sectioning off these different symbols on your player sheets. Might be a little bit generous giving this one a 7 out of 10. I'm not sure if it should be more of a 6.5 because it is so light, but I've always had a good time with it, and I suppose that is what we grade these games on. At number 185, I have Arc Nova. So probably the most controversial one here. Huge fall from number 48 last year. Now, I think Arc Nova is fantastic. Let's make that clear. The card play is great. The tableau building is fantastic. It's just too long for me and my gaming group. You know, you're looking at 3.5 hours here. It's very rare I'll play a game that's that long. And if I am going to play a game that long, I want it to be in my top 10, you know. So for that reason, and you know, length is very important for me, a game length. So yeah, it's going to fall for that reason. At number 186, I have Tekenyu, down from number 51 last year. This one I had a bit of a rocky relationship with. I wasn't so keen at first, and I learned to love it, and then it's fallen back for me. Just a little bit too heavy for what I want, a few too many rules exceptions, but still, I mean, it's a great design. It's still number 186 by Daniele Cini. 187, I have the Isle of Skye down from 145. This one's fallen a bit because it has been replaced by Nemalia, which I mentioned earlier on this list. So yeah, and again, another game I played so much that I'm a bit tired of it. 188 down from 132, I have Fruticola, one that you're probably not aware of. This one was a mildly, well, just about succeeded on Kickstarter. It's a worker placement game with some cool card play, some commodity speculation, all about trying to harvest fruit and convert it into jams. Was hurt really badly through its production issues, really. But I might have to get this one back to the table because it did work for me, and maybe that'll boost it up a bit. And finally, on this list, at number 189, I have Colosseum, down from number 149 the year prior. This is a negotiation auction style game as you're trying to put on these grand displays in the Colosseum to try and draw spectators. A great scoring mechanism here, as every round you'll score your performance, but only your best performance out of each round or overall rounds will be your actual score. So it kind of has this kind of tide line style mechanism, which is really unique and you don't really see it very often at all. And I prefer this one to the original, which is the Princess of Florence, which I actually played this year. I mean, I've had this game on my list for many, many years now, and it's actually getting reprinted, I think, next year. So, you know, if this one appeals to you, then check out Colosseum. You know, great theme there. That concludes the video. That is all 189 of my current commendations. You know, a lot of the time the games slip off my commendations because, I don't know, I kind of lose that luster for me. But if they've normally been on my top, or if they've normally had a commendation, they'll normally sit on that kind of 6.5 out of 10 mark, where I like them, they've got a lot of qualities, but I'm not going to kind of confidently say that I recommend them, I suppose. But hopefully you have enjoyed the video. If you have, please be sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel. Apologies if I went through these a bit too quickly, and it might be somewhat difficult to track without the graphics and stuff, but it takes a lot of time, as you can imagine, to put all those graphics up, etc. So, you know, forgive me for that. So again, thank you very much, and I will see you all next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye bye.